What's up guys, SkyKevin here, and today I wanted to talk to you about the number one issue I've had with Elo so far in Season 5, base rating. I want to go over the initial roadmap and how it looked, the changes made since then, and the benefits associated with it, as well as my reasoning and suggestions going forward. So, let's get started. When it comes to Season 5, Elo had a great roadmap set up, and really gave us a good idea of what the game was going to be like. It was going to be unforgiving, ruthless, difficult, and full of challenges that will make us want to come back and keep playing for weeks to come. The idea was simple. You have a base acting as a home point, and you travel with your walkers around tiles collecting resources, fighting enemies, and organically, you'd come across other nomads and a fight would ensue. If you lose, you might lose your walker, but you'll always have a base that you can return to and re-gear, repair, and rebuild to head up once more. I love this idea. Indeed, in previous videos, I've always harped on the need for players to use walkers like a traveling base. They should need to roam around the world, and when they get into a fight, the stakes should be high enough that they will fight with everything they have, but not lose everything if they're defeated. To me, that was the direction they needed to go with the new Season 5 changes, seeing as they moved so much of the game around. Unfortunately, old habits die hard. In this case, I've noticed they've tried listening to small groups of players and fallen into bad habits once again, trying to recreate the game that they've already tried to move away from. This is, in my opinion, because they've only really taken into account the vocal minority of what's going on and tried to please the overdramatic few that sit in Discord all day long, harping about how it's a dead game and they can't have any fun. I'm not talking about the distinction between small solo players and large Zerg clans either. I want the game to be fun for everyone. So here's my suggestion. Please just enable base rating. I've been asking for this for a while. Right now, we can't break through anyone's base. This is ridiculous because the game isn't about base tactics, it's about walker versus walker battles. Now I know what you're thinking. If base rating was enabled, many of the player base will quit. You'll no longer have a safe space for your walker and all your resources, and the game will be more difficult. But I'd like to point out, it was supposed to be introduced early in Season 5, as Chaz had said on the 2nd of August for the Season 5 launch post. If you've read any of our recent dev blogs, you've seen the new collection of remote weapons we've created. While we think the internal testing has wrung out many of the major issues, getting the balance with respect to rating player structures isn't something we want to gamble on. For that reason, at the start of the season, we'll be disabling PvP damage to bases. We understand the pros and cons with this decision, but we simply don't have the data we need to get the balance right. Enabling base rating will be one of the major focuses of the week. Well, it's been longer than a week, and I haven't heard any updates on this topic since then, other than what Washed has said. But it's incredibly important, because this one thing has now completely changed the meta of the game, spawned all new problems from everyone around, and generally has locked off content for every single player. I'm talking about anyone playing the game. This is a bad decision for you. One of the main issues that's been talked about since then has been quality. The difficulty going to the gold uncapped PvP tile to get it, and the overpowered nature of the gear associated with it, as well as the absolute hordes of it that the largest clans have stored away in their bases. You could solve most of the problems with quality just by enabling base rating, and I'll tell you how. Think about it this way. Right now, you have all the largest clans living on the gold PvP tile. Their base is there, every single walker they have is there, and all their players are roaming around on multiple ships, farming everything that they can constantly. If one of them gets attacked, everyone on the map converges on that location and zergs down any smaller groups that are trying to farm there. Sound familiar? I think we've had that in the previous seasons as well. The moment you enable base rating, even the largest Zerg clans will be forced to leave those tiles and build a base on the PvE tiles. It's inevitable because otherwise they will have to be large enough that they can constantly defend a static base, and being the only ones trying to live on that tile, they would constantly feel the pressure of anyone looking to raid them and take all their stuff. Now, they may put up a fight for a while, but I can tell you having a 24/7 raid cycle just will not be sustainable for anyone, and they will want to move to a PvE tile that's just a few jumps away, because anyone that's in the PvE tiles has full access to come from those tiles and attack that base and run back away once they're done for the night. This is the angle that many people haven't realized so far. It's not just the small solos that are building on these PvP tiles, it's the huge clans as well, and by enabling raiding, you'll push everyone out of the tiles, at least for the fact that it's going to be where they're living. The moment that happens, the exodus of having your main base on a gold PvP tile and having it move to PvE means that the road to that tile becomes more dangerous. Every time you log in and jump on your walker, you're taking it out of storage and having to travel to where the rarest resources are, and there's nothing to say that you'll be safe the whole way there. This is the opportunity for small groups of players to get what they want. Originally, we were promised organic encounters, where players would be out and about farming and bump into another group just based on the fact that they'd need to travel to the map. I can't make it any clearer that by not enabling base raiding, they've created so many more problems that are now trying to be solved. For instance, they are currently working on event tiles for quality and including PvE maps within those tiles. This is going to be worse for most players. If base raiding was here, all the bases are wiped from the PvP maps. Those tiles become ones where you venture out like an event tile, but you don't have the pressures of it being temporary. You can sneak in, farm what you need to, and get out before anyone notices, because there won't be anything set up there. If there was, let's say, an outpost that a large clan puts up, I'm sure it will be attacked by another group eventually and taken down. So why then would you want an event tile, where you're going to be pressured to drive in, farm whatever you can as fast as possible, and get out before it burns in the next 2 hours? Oh, and by the way, those 2 hours will be spent constantly in fear for someone that has a fully decked out warwalker roaming around and looking for you just for a bit of content. The idea of event tiles was something they did in previous seasons, and honestly, it didn't work the way they wanted it to. The iron tiles were essentially a mad dash for the center, and someone with a decked out Warfalco would run you down on your dinghy, zerg you with 20 players on board, and if you want to stop the zergs in their tracks, then spread them out naturally by making them have to travel. I personally don't want to have to wake up, log into the game, and move my walker for an hour before I get to the gold tile to farm the best stuff. But you have to admit that doing it would inhibit everyone from collecting those resources, and unless a Zerg clan of say 50 people agrees to all log in at the same exact time and travel there together, they will still have to travel to get there, i.e. their main tile will not be the PvP zones, making them essentially the event tiles they're currently spending resources and dev power to organize. Indeed, if you had everyone forced to build on PvE because base raiding was enabled, you might actually start to see some variation in walker designs. Instead of decking out your dinghy walker with as many repeaters, spinners, and ballista as possible, you might actually need to put a crafting station or two on your deck so that you can handle the resources as you farm them because you're away from home. Right now, why do that when your base is right beside the resources? My ideal for this game was that when we got to the larger walkers like the Schmetterling, we would use that one because it acts like a mobile base. The large clans would have to bring their big walker with all their storage and crafting stations to the tile and then farm throughout the day and escort it back home at the end of the day. This is where the opportunity for clans of any size can come in and fight them. I know PvE players have complained a lot about their inability to get any quality resources as well, but if you're a PvE player and you feel like you're missing out, I get it. But you're always going to be on the PvE tiles, so you're always going to be against white Rupu enemies. Further, you would have the option to trade for better resources and tools if there was a robust economy for everyone living on the PvE tiles and returning there to deposit their resources after a long day of roaming around the PvE area. This is where, once again, making flots a usable currency that has value is very important to the game. If we turn base raiding on today, I know it would be tough for a lot of players. The balance isn't there, they'll lose everything they have, and they won't be able to live on the PvP tiles anymore. But that goes for everyone, large or small groups. The longer we wait, the more established large clans get, and the more legendary resources they farm, and the more people get zerged down in these tiles and quit. The more you have players build a base right beside yours and rat around all day. The more you question the overall game design by making it about hiding in your base like a squirrel until it's safe to come out. I say, take off the training wheels and force everyone onto the same playing field. I can guarantee you that the large groups will have a lot more trouble farming on those gold PvP tiles when they don't have somewhere to store all their stuff. If you're in a small group of 1 to 6 players, this will only benefit you, because now when you go to the PvP tiles, you won't come across a complete hornet's nest of players. They'll only have what weapons and resources they brought with them on their walker. And that is your chance to get the fair fight you were looking for since the beginning of this season. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bro, I just healed.
What's up, guys? SkyKevin here, about to die to Kenny. Wow. Wow.
Oh, breathe.
Oh, that's going in the video, boys.